In this video, I am going to discuss the residency agreement or contract that I use for my care home that hopefully you will be able to implement into your care home. And I also have some exciting news for you all, so make sure that you stick around. What's up everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you have shown on this channel. We are almost at 5,000 subscribers, and I have some big news for you all because you've helped grow this channel to 5,000 subscribers. I'm officially going to be launching Legion Assisted Living Advisors, where you guys can buy all the documentation that you need in order to operate your residential assisted living, including some states where I will be teaming up with a consultant who will be writing the policies and procedures, and I will be assisting and helping. And so make sure you all stay tuned for that. If you have not yet, feel free to go check out the God Made podcast. Also feel free to go check out the Facebook group and also the program that I've already created in order to talk you through the steps of starting your own residential assisted living called Legion Assisted Living Academy. I will link a link down below and it will take you to all these different links. Feel free to go check them all out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. Now, the very first thing that I have in my contract is acceptance of the services that we, or I, or you will be providing in your care home. And so it's a brief paragraph that discusses those services. The next section would discuss the basic monthly fee or charge of care that would consist of what they would be paying for and how much they're going to be paying for the care that's going to be provided in the care home. And that is essentially the rate that you would be charging per bed in your care home. And so this is going to be a section of the residency agreement where you discuss with the family exactly what you'd be charging. That's where you write the rate down, and if it's for a semi-private or a private room. And then if they do end up being on respite care, which is a different topic that I will discuss at another time or make a video about, but you would either mark if the resident is going to be on respite stay and how much you charge per day for respite stay. That is a whole completely different topic. I'm not going to jump into that. And so that would be the second part of the residency agreement. Keep in mind the residency agreement, mine that I currently use at my care home, is about 12 pages long, all said and done. There are certain sections through the residency agreement that is repetitive and can have some lingo in there that is confusing for most families, and so that's why I like to talk them through it, and I like to really hit on the key points through the entire residency agreement. Family will also get a copy of this residency agreement, so they don't need to try to read it and understand it all right then. They can go through and read it on their own time, and therefore if they do have any other questions, there is an addendum portion of the residency agreement where they can come back and we can make some adjustments if we need to. The next portion is going to consist of move-in, if there was a bed hold deposit, and if there was a referral fee that was paid to a referral agent. And the families do need to be aware of what you're actually paying the referral agent. That way they're made aware of this and that they can understand why you're having to do that. And so the referral agent should also be announcing to the family or letting them know and make them aware of this referral fee that they do get from care homes in order for placing their loved one into this care home. Now, with the next portion is rate and fee increases. In the documentation package that I'm creating in this entire program with Legion Assisted Living Advisors, where you can purchase all of this, there is going to be a rate increase notice form in there for your care home that you would be utilizing in order to give notice to the family that their rate is going to increase. Usually you want to do a 30-day notice that they would get this rate increase. That way the family can have time to adjust and budget that into their next month. You can also do it on a 60-day if you really want to. And most times than not, care homes do it at the end of the year. They give this rate increase. There are going to be families who have just a set budget, and they do tell you ahead of time. I've had a family say, hey, in the future we can't afford more than what we're paying you, and they had a really good budget already, so I wasn't too worried about that. But there are going to be families who'd want that added in the addendum. Moving forward, you would have the resident's responsibilities, what the resident is responsible for, and so that section is going to give all the information regarding what the families, if the resident is if they're their own representative or their own POA, that's where you would discuss with the resident all that information. If a family is a POA or the representative for the resident, they would need to read through that section to see what they're responsible for. Is additional deduction services and charges. This portion is going to consist of anything that is additional on top of having to pay for the bed, for the room and board at your care home. There's things like outside services like x-ray, laboratories, etc. Any outside services the family will be responsible for and will have to pay out of pocket if their Medicare doesn't cover, their insurance doesn't cover any of those extra charges. So they would initial in that portion taking that responsibility on for any additional deduction services and charges. I then have another section which is following the resident's personal funds, is absence from the facility if they go into the hospital, rehab, or inpatient at a hospice. I have in my residency agreement that even though they go out, the rate still continues. The rate does not stop until they give me a 30-day notice. And so in that section, that is pretty much what I have stated. That's in layman's terms, that's exactly what I have stated. They do have to give me a 30-day notice in order to stop the rate and, in a sense, stop from them living in the care home. If they don't give me a 30-day notice, it's still their bed, it's still their room. Even if they're gone for a full month, however long they're gone, that room is still theirs until they stop paying for it. And they do have to give me a 30-day notice for that. Moving forward, I have the policy on advanced health directives, which includes the information regarding a do not resuscitate form, which is the orange form stating that they will not revive the resident if we find them unconscious in the facility. So I have the information in there regarding all that and how to go about getting a DNR form for their loved one if they're ready to make that transition. Next, I have my refund policy in my residency agreement. I personally have a no refund policy in my facility just to cover the costs if a resident ends up moving out halfway through the month. I do not have a refund policy, and everyone can have a refund policy if they feel like that's what they want. That can be changed. That is all up to each person and how they want to go about doing the refund policy. But personally, I have a no refund policy in my facility and in my residency agreement. I then, after that, have all the internal rules and requirements for my facility. All the visiting hours, when things are cleaned, when things are washed, when they're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. All my rules regarding my facility are in this portion. And so family cannot say, well, we didn't know this, we didn't know that. Well, it is in the residency agreement, and so when I hear that, I tell them refer back to the residency agreement. All my rules are in there. Visiting hours are from this time to this time, and so on and so forth. The next portion is the disaster planning. The disaster planning is like evacuation drills that we would be doing in the facility, where their loved one would be going out through and what we would do in certain situations and circumstances. What the protocol is for when there is any type of disaster or any situation in the house. That is all stated in this portion of the residency agreement, so they do know exactly what's going on. And then moving forward would be the grievances. Then after that, everything else is pretty much kind of repetitive, rephrasing the entire agreement, and then the family would initial, and then the last page I sign or the manager of your facility would sign, and then the family would sign, or the resident if the resident is their own representative and POA, and then they put their phone number, all their information, and then that is the residency agreement, and then they can either have it emailed to them or have a copy made for them. I usually always give my family a copy, a hard copy, and then that is it for the residency agreement. And so, like I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, Legion Assisted Living Advisors is a program, not really a program, because you are receiving the documentation. And I'm very excited about that because you have all been asking me to create something to where I can give you guys all this documentation that you need to operate your residential assisted living. And so that will be coming out real soon. And I'm very excited. Make sure you guys all stay tuned for that. I will be making a video of when that does launch. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you found this video very informative. And if you're looking forward to all that's coming, make sure you hit that like button for me. And again, guys, go check out the God Made podcast. Go join the Facebook group, Legion Assisted Living Academy. Feel free to go check out the program, legionassistedlivingacademy.com. Go follow me on Instagram at Serg, SERG_LUPESCU. And that is all I have for you guys. And I will see you all in the next video. God bless.